Guess what? Guess what? Guess what?
Yeah, baby.
It's time for the semi-finals of the Champions League. This is where it becomes truly, truly cinema if it turns out how I think it's going to turn out. But time to predict them. It's today, actually, PSG versus Bayern. So last minute, but we're getting in our predictions so you can come back and check this after and see if I was chatting or if I was telling the facts. Here's the thing. Let's go over our previous predictions. PSG Liverpool, got that one right. I mean, I'm not going to brag about that. That one seemed pretty obvious. PSG went through. Bayern versus Real Madrid. I did predict Bayern to go through. Not going to lie, I didn't think it would be as difficult as it was. And when I made that prediction, I said the main reason why I'm predicting Bayern, not only had they been the best team in Europe for a lot of the season, but Real Madrid do not have Thibaut Courtois. And to me, Courtois is the great equalizer. Not gonna lie, they almost didn't need him because they were in these games. But in the end, I do actually think if they had Courtois, we could have been looking at Real Madrid in a semifinal against PSG. That's all I'm saying. And not gonna lie, as someone who predicted Bayern to win the entire thing at the start of the knockout phase, that's kind of spooky because I thought Bayern would be a little more dominant than that. But going over to the other side, Arsenal, Sporting. I mean, of course, Arsenal went through. I predicted Arsenal to go through. Now, 1-0, 1-0 across two legs. I mean, spooky season for Arsenal. I don't know what's going on. I know they won their game over the weekend, so they're taking the lead back in the Premier League title race. But Arsenal is a very interesting season for them. Very, very interesting. But at the end of the day, getting it done is getting it done, and they got it done by any means necessary against Sporting. And now they're in the semifinal again. And Atletico Madrid versus Barcelona. That one was cinema. Cinema. Wow. That was, I mean, just watching Lamine in the Champions League is always amazing. But what came back to bite Barcelona? The same thing that always comes back to bite Barcelona. The high line, and I don't want to be like this high line naysayer merchant because you can do it high line, but just it doesn't work for Barcelona. I just don't think they have the personnel to really make it work in those moments when they're running through on goal, one ball over the top, and then you have these center backs that aren't the fastest center backs in the world trying to chase down these guys. And guess what? A red card in the first leg, a red card in the second leg. I mean, what's going on? What's going on? And that kind of killed it for them. Honestly, they fought well considering those mishaps, but at the end of the day, Atleti have gone through to a semifinal. And here we are. PSG versus Barcelona. PSG versus Barcelona. PSG versus Bayern. I always see FCB and think Barcelona. And Atleti versus Arsenal. Now, this is a funny semifinal matchup. I can't lie because you look on one side, you're looking at these might be the two best teams in Europe. Probably are the two best teams in Europe. And the two best attacks in Europe also. This is going to be cinema. If we get a shootout, this is going to be cinema. And you look on the other side and you look at this is Harambal versus Harambal. I mean, this might be an all-time stinker. So either way, I'm hoping the team on the left can bring something out of the team on the right if they when they meet in the final. But let's start on the right side this time because this one is more interesting to me in terms of I'm not really sure how to call this one. Now, Atleti, if you watch my first prediction video, I said at the time, I predict Bayern as the winners, but Atleti are my dark horse to go all the way to the final, maybe even sneak a win in the final. And I said in 2026, they're a completely different team than they were in 2020, the end of 2025, with the addition of Lookman. They score goals, and I mean we've seen they can concede goals too, but especially that attack now is humming, it's purring. Lookman, Alvarez, Simeone, Griezmann, and they can bring on like Baena off the bench and stuff like that. I mean, Sorloth, they're scoring goals and goals and goals, and I can't say the same for Arsenal, and that's the thing that makes it tough. Because if I were to weigh them up, I would say who has the better defense? Arsenal. But Atleti doesn't have a shabby defense either. They can park it if they need to, and of course they conceded goals to Barcelona, but they only conceded 2 goals to Barcelona over 2 legs. I mean, of course they conceded more to them in other competitions, but 2 goals to Barcelona over 2 legs, that's doing well. Honestly, considering the amount of chances Lamine Yamal created, to only concede 2 goals is actually doing well, to be honest. So it shows their defense is still there. But when we look at the attack, now I'm saying Atleti can put up goals. If you want to go band for band, Atleti can put up goals. But do I trust Arsenal's attack to put up goals against Atleti? That's where it gets spooky. And the thing is, if you would just ask me blanket statement, which team do I think is better? I might generally say Arsenal because Arsenal are better suited to not losing games, which is unfortunate that that's the way we have to look at things sometimes now. But of course, a 38 game season, that's what it is. But which team do I think can win in terms of a knockout? Arsenal might keep a clean sheet at home, but do I think they can shut out Atleti 90 minutes at the Metropolitano? I'm not sure. Let me see if they have any predicted lineups for tomorrow. Is Saka still not starting? At least in their predicted. I don't know. We'll see. But like, I'm not gonna lie, Victor Gyökeres not worrying me. It's not worrying. I'll probably start Havertz or something. I don't know. I didn't see exactly what happened with their injuries over the weekend, so maybe I'm yapping. But if I had to pick, I'm going with Atleti. 2 reasons. One, because I think they just have a better attack, even though they can be weak against set pieces, and obviously Arsenal are set piece merchants. But Arsenal's set pieces kind of had dried up a bit in this spell where they were collapsing in the league, and they started to switch it up. That's why you see them employing that short set piece, the short corner over the weekend, where they're trying to do new things. Nicholas Jover trying to cook up something new for them, and they ended up scoring off of it with Eze. So maybe Arsenal will have something for Atleti, but I don't know if I can bet on that the way they've been playing. So for that, and two, because I bet on Atleti as my dark horse at the beginning, and then when it came to Barca, the power of Lamine, maybe I was glazing. I went against them, and I was wrong. I was wrong. I think I didn't even say I didn't go over that prediction, but yeah, I was wrong. I said Barca would go through. They did not. Atleti went through, and I should have stuck with my dark horse from the beginning. So now I'm going to back them. I backed them from the beginning. I'm going to continue to back them. When it gets to the other side, PSG, Bayern Munich, here's where it gets spooky because at the beginning, like I said, I thought Bayern would win the whole thing. But now, actually watching how this tournament has progressed, I know I said on the other side, I'm going to back my dark horse to go all the way to the final. But now, can I even back my winner pick? I don't know. I don't know. Here's the thing. At the beginning, the reason why I picked Bayern over PSG on this side and just to win the whole thing is because Bayern looked like they had their league wrapped up, and they officially do have it wrapped up now. But PSG, if you look at PSG, their league is still competitive now. I mean, now they're 6 points clear. Before they weren't, but when I made that prediction, they were like 1 point clear. Now they're like 6 points clear. It's a little more comfortable, but it's not. It's not over. It's not completely over, especially if they're looking to compete in the Champions League. If you look at their fixtures, I know the Ligue 1, they switch things around and make things easier for PSG to compete. So maybe that was a nothing point at the time. But for me, PSG having to still compete in the league and Bayern having it wrapped up made it seem to me, okay, Bayern's going to be fresher in the Champions League. They can start their best 11 every time. It makes more sense. But then actually watching it play out, PSG, similarly to last season, have just emerged once again as the best team in Europe. And maybe that just means they were the best team in Europe the whole time. They just wait for the business end of the season to really show that. But the way they're performing, and to be fair, before I get to the lineup, because I can see the lineup now that this match is about to start soon. Before I get to the lineup, PSG had to take out Chelsea, who are shambolic. That's my team, so I say this. I mean, anyone can say this, but the shambolic team, absolutely shambolic. The way we're moving right now, so that's not the most crazy result. Maybe at the time it looked like it because PSG weren't playing at their best at the time, but then they showed you there's levels, showed us there's levels. And they took on Liverpool, who are similarly, I mean, they're not as bad as Chelsea right now, but they're still, considering where people thought they'd be, pretty shambolic season, all things considered. So, and PSG have already shown they can dominate all the English teams in a run to the final. So maybe you could say they had an easier run of it in terms of those games. They were more straightforward, but they had to go out and do it. And they're showing they can score goals for fun. Bayern, on the other hand, did have to take out, I mean, Atalanta. Let me not act like that's probably the easiest one. Let's be real. Let's be real. But Real Madrid put them through a war. And they came out on the other side of it, showing they can win in a shootout as well. Especially that second leg. That second leg was a shootout in that first half, and they came out on top. So I got to give them their credit as well. When it comes to PSG Bayern, now looking at both teams and how they come into this game, I can actually see the lineup coming into this game. I mean, maybe you could say this is a weak spot, Safonov, but he's been decent considering. I mean, this midfield three, then we have Fabian Ruiz starting and just Zaire Emery just slotting in. Best fullback pairing in the world. Pacho, most underrated center back. Kavara, Dembele. I mean, this is just ridiculous. But then look at this attack. Musiala starting now. He's now fit. With Diaz and Elise. I mean, Diaz no bag, but he'll be there to finish off chances. Elise playing like one of the best players in Europe, arguably the best player in the Champions League so far, alongside Yamal with some of his performances. Kane, of course, nothing else needs to be said. Kimmich Pavlovic holding it down. I mean, Upamecano, of course, I mean, first of all, Upamecano. I mean, that song's a banger, but Upamecano, he has his moments, but overall, solid. Ta solid. I mean, now Davies is healthy too on the left, so he can help deal with Due. This is going to be interesting. And Neuer, here's the thing. Here's the real question. And now, this is probably actually, now that I think about it, what's going to determine my prediction. Neuer, first leg against Madrid, superhuman. It looked like I was watching Neuer when I first got into football over a decade ago. Like, that was like prime Neuer, ridiculous. Neuer in the second leg against Madrid, oh my God. Bro was moving like an imposter, bro. I don't know what happened between the week, but that was he nearly cost Bayern. Honestly, he nearly cost Bayern. But really it depends which Neuer shows up. That's honestly what it might come down to. Which Neuer shows up, and not because Safonov is just going to be better than him, but if it could be a Neuer that stops you from conceding 4 by making 2 amazing saves, and you only concede 2. And I think the first game's at the Parc des Princes as well. So if you can contain them to maybe only scoring 2 at the Parc des Princes with Neuer saves, that's amazing. But if it's a game where they might have only scored 2, but Neuer gives away the ball unnecessarily, and all of a sudden they're scoring 3 or 4, then you're like, damn, now we have to go crazy back at the Allianz. So I hate to go against my overall winner pick, but with the way they're playing right now, Musiala and Davies makes it interesting. But the way they're playing right now, I have to go PSG. I just have to go PSG. I just watching them, I don't see a better team right now. That doesn't mean they're necessarily going to win, but I'm backing them to win, and we will see, in my prediction, a PSG Atleti Champions League final in Budapest. I think it's in Budapest. So there we go. The game's coming up very soon. I'm going to edit this super quick and get this out. But like, subscribe, all that good algorithm stuff. Appreciate you for making it this far if you did. And let me know down in the comments what you would have predicted going in. I mean, by the time you see this, it might have already happened. But it's going to be very interesting. Very, very interesting. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.